Welcome to A Sip with Whiskey and Sweet Tea, the short show where your favorite movie-going beverages play games and sip on topics. We continue Schlocktober with a discussion of some disappointing entries to the horror cinematic universe. Please be advised, spoilers are ahead.
What time is it? Oh, look at that. It's already Schlocktober.
Or Schlocktober.
Some more Schlocktober for you. So, every year, people love to find the stupidest horror movies they can find. But I was curious, what are the worst ones? What is so bad that you can't even get entertainment value of it?
Well, probably, because I told you I'm part of this fan group, probably that one where that guy said were just these weird alien creatures invading a deli, and they just shoved this guy's face into a deli meat cutter, and then they posted that scene on YouTube and scarred me for days. Probably
that sounds like a trauma movie. I wonder if it was one of the Toxic Avengers sequels.
Probably.
Which was on some lists. You always hear the same movies on every time you look this stuff up. So
right, yeah.
I tried to find ones that I have never heard of. So, you know, if you've never heard of any of these movies, please give us a like, because I tried.
Light bulb, I may do this in the future for Lifetime movies.
So I've got a couple. Some of these are actually sound like something I might want to watch in the future for the show with you.
Okay.
Some of them definitely not. So we'll start off with The Clown Murders.
The Clown Murders?
So this movie came out the same year as John Carpenter's Halloween, which was one of the highest grossing movies that year.
Overshadowed everything else.
Yeah, like, good luck trying to compete with that. So it came out that same year. This one is interesting. So this one is problematic, let's say.
Oh, okay. One of these.
So the plot revolves around a group of friends that kidnap one of their ex-girlfriends because she's married to a wealthy man. So it's like a nice guy Halloween serial killer.
I'm like, personally, if I was, I'd be like, just be nice to her so she gives me money. That's like I'd want it.
Yeah, so that's the plot. I guess they're dressed up as clowns because that's the plot synopsis didn't mention any clowns, so I'm guessing they're dressed up as clowns kidnapping her.
Or maybe the movie title's just acknowledging what big clowns they were just behaving as.
Yeah, so that's the first one. Curious if it's any good, but the last thing about it is that John Candy agreed to be in it for some reason.
I love John Candy.
Yeah, so he wasn't able to save it for bombing, but yeah, that's a... Okay, here we go. So this is one that I think might be kind of funny to check out in the show in the future. So the show's called Wacko.
Okay, it's pronounced Waco, common mistake.
No, it's Wacko, Wacko, and it is actually, and I called it a show, it's a movie, it's actually a horror spoof, so you would think that
like Scream is kind of a horror spoof?
Scream is a little bit, it yes and no. Scream is like kind of funny, but it also is like serious with the whole murder aspect of it.
Then I guess it's more like a scary movie.
Yeah, that's what it's supposed. And the problem with it was that despite being a spoof, it wasn't that funny for the most part. But the reason I'm kind of curious to check this one out is because the killer in the movie is the lawnmower killer.
The lawnmower
so
killer.
Whoever the serial killer is, he kills people with a lawnmower.
There was that scene in the new Child's Play with the lawnmower, so I could see that being a potential murder weapon.
I mean, it's been in a couple things. It was in The Happening, in that terrible movie, too.
I know. Again, that's another one of those movies that's like, that was a fascinating concept that they just screwed up with.
I wish I could. Apparently, there's a good version.
It's the one time Mark Wahlberg has ever apologized for anything.
Oh, no. Now I remember. So there's actually a movie called The Ruins, which has a similar idea with The Happening, but like done in a cooler way. So it takes place, I don't know if it's Mexico. It's somewhere where there's Mayan ruins. But some tourists go to the ruins, and they're not allowed, like, a bunch of indigenous people keep them there because the plants eat people. So, similar to The Happening in that the plants are killing people.
That was an episode of The X-Files.
There you go. But yeah, like, so the movie, apparently, it's like the reason they sacrificed people back in those times was, like, because the plants were alive and they ate people or something.
Why didn't they just burn the plants down?
They try in the movie, I believe, and it just doesn't work.
We need to put whatever that plant skin's made out of. That's what our firemen should be.
Well,
wearing.
I mean, technically, it's hard to burn plants when they are well hydrated. It's dry plants that are easy to burn, but you go to the Amazon and it's not going to be that easy to light like very like lush vegetation on fire unless you have very powerful like flamethrowers or whatever.
Or just an explosion.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, Wacko, lawnmower killer. Maybe, like, according to what I read, it's not a very... The problem is that it's not as funny as it should be for a horror spoof.
It's like it's a horror spoof that managed to miss the spoof part.
Yeah, so I'm curious about that. Ooh, Halloween Night. So this was one that came out in 2006. And apparently I've read so many reviews, it looked like it was shot, quote-unquote, from, like, a plastic tube. There are people who say it looks like a movie from the 1970s just because it's so poorly, like, made and it looks really bad. My biggest beef is it's a straight-up rip-off of Halloween. It is about a mental patient who escapes, goes back to his hometown.
Well, they could have at least even changed the name, called it, I don't know, Easter Sunday
it's like,
or something.
Exactly. Well, or like the fact that it's like Halloween night. Gee, I wonder if you guys...
As opposed to what, Halloween Day?
Yeah, the killer wears a mask that looks like his face is melting. So he goes to his old house and it's occupied by a bunch of like college students who are throwing a party, and then the murders.
Oh, great! It's basically it's Black Christmas.
Basically, except in Black Christmas it's a sorority, and it's also Christmas break. So
but I mean, it's basically it's the same concept.
It's an unoriginal idea. It's
which supposedly the new Black Christmas was supposed to be at least sort of good.
The original is really good. I saw the remake, that like the first remake, and I thought it was like funny bad. I enjoyed it, even though it was a terrible movie.
I remember that was like the first time I'd really seen like a horror trailer that intrigued me. But I was like not five. But I was young.
Yeah, you were definitely not 5.
I was maybe think I was like 10 or something. So instead of what I ended up doing is I just looked up the plot synopsis, and then I read the entire plot synopsis because I knew reading that would not be as disturbing as watching.
So you know what happens and why I find it kind of funny because of how over the top disgusting it is.
Oh, you mean the part where she walks in? Oh. When the guy is eating one of his eyes. Okay, that's one does.
Well, I think the rampant incest was what just had me.
Oh, I don't even remember that from the plot synopsis. I remember one of the characters is watching an adult film starring him and another of the characters. I remember that.
Oh yeah, that's those are the college students. So I'm talking about the killer, who they decide to flesh his story out.
Yeah, that okay. No, I do. I think you're talking about the kids.
That movie. We're getting off track, but that movie's so funny to talk about that. Like he makes cookies out of people. Like that's you don't remember a lot from the plot synopsis, do you?
Okay, I read the plot synopsis when I was like 10. Okay.
Well, anyway, that movie is pretty.
But I will say that is just one
ridiculous.
of those cases where I even read the plot synopsis. I'm like, did they even bother to make anybody in here likable? Like,
so this next one is one that I think would be another, like, just like Wacko. Oh my god, it rhymes too. Just like Wacko, I think this next movie would be a possible, like, review in the future. So this one's called Jacko. Ooh. Wacko and Jacko.
Are they related?
So, obviously you would think Jack-o'-lantern, right, with that name like that. So this one, the plot actually sounds very interesting. It's about a wizard with a jack-o'-lantern head being resurrected to kill the ancestors of the people who killed him in the Middle Ages.
What? Wait. He's being resurrected and then sent back in time?
No, he's like his body is buried. Body reanimated.
Oh no! Not ancestors.
But he's got like a
descendants, not ancestors.
That's what it said in the ancestors.
Well, because ancestors would be the people who came before the people who killed him.
Gotcha.
That's why I was like, he was sent back in time. What?
That's funny because I kind of straight up copied the synopsis off of IMDb.
I mean, well, at least IMDb cared.
Probably no one cared about Jacko, but yeah. So that sounds like a funny movie. Potentially.
I could see that being one of those, like, it's so bad that it's good.
Ooh, but this one is a little heavier. So if any of you know who Victor Salva is,
that does sound familiar.
So he's the director of Jeepers Creepers.
That's why. Oh, he's the one that ripped off the Unsolved Mysteries skit for the opening of Jeepers Creepers.
He is also a monstrous human being who deserves to be behind bars for the rest of their life.
Oh, okay. So he's like Roman Polanski or Woody Allen.
Oh, worse.
Oh, good. Okay, tell me more.
I can't without us possibly getting this video blocked, but I will say Little Boys.
Oh, okay.
That's all I'll say about that. But
oh, you mean like the guy who did Bohemian Rhapsody? And Kevin Spacey.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So he did a movie called Clown House in the early 90s.
Clown House.
It does feature young actors in their underwear, and it was confirmed during his conviction that yes, some abuse did take place.
Some hanky-panky happened.
So
yeah, we might cut that out.
So I would call it the cuties of horror movies.
The cuties of horror. Okay.
And
you know,
it's
like Dan Schneider and his weird obsession with feet.
And the plot pretty much revolves around mental patients escaped dressed as clowns going on a murder spree. So nothing that groundbreaking. It's again, I was looking for the actual worst Halloween movies, not just schlock, but like what is the worst crap you could watch?
Not even so bad that it's good, just bad in general.
Trash. And I would say that out of this list, this is the one movie I would say don't watch it because it sounds like
and also we don't want to give Jeepers Creepers guys any more money.
Yeah, which is a shame. Actually, Jeepers Creepers was a good movie. The first two.
Well, I mean, like I said, the first one was ripped off of Unsolved Mysteries.
Was it? There was an Unsolved Mysteries, like...
Okay, so literally, I'm not even kidding. The opening sequence of Jeepers Creepers when they're driving down, they see the stuff happening. That is, and people have done the comparison. He even said, yeah, I was inspired by this. It is a shot-for-shot recreation of a recreation from Unsolved Mysteries.
Wait, you mean the truck or the part where they go to the house and there's, like, just a room full of, like, guts?
So, remember they're driving down, and they're driving down, the whole thing with the truck, but they all see somebody off the side with like a sheet over by this house or something. That was I'll have to show you this later. But that is literally. He even came out later and said, "Yeah, I was inspired." Well, dude, you weren't inspired by. You basically just ripped off this entire thing.
There you go. It's a shame. That was a cool franchise,
I do remember when that came out though, because there was a Scooby-Doo episode called Jeepers, It's the Creeper. So I remember telling my mom, like, "Oh, Mom, we need to go see that. It's like a Scooby-Doo." And she's like, "It is not a Scooby-Doo continuation."
Yeah,
no,
it's not. Okay, so this next one. Wait until I explain, because it sounds like a different movie.
I have a bowl of Snickers here to throw.
Trick or Treat. Not Trick or Treat. For all of you fans out there, and to explain to UT, there's a cult classic from 2009 called Trick or Treat, with an R, not O-R, and that, it's like a horror anthology movie. It involves, like, there's kind of this character, this kid with, like, a sack over his head
Isn't that part of, like, a series of holiday, like, horror anthology things? I think, isn't that... I think
it might be.
There's, like, a Valentine's Day one and an Easter one, and...
Well, I mean, there...
No, but I mean, they were
We're gonna talk
they
about...
were all, but I know I've seen the poster for what you're talking about with the guy with the bag over his head. And everything.
It's so I don't believe so. It was basically just like an indie movie that bombed, but now it's like a and it is a good movie.
Okay.
It's so. That's why I had to clarify, because I know if any of you horror fans out there know I am not talking about the one from 2009.
Trust me, if I found out that it was, even though I haven't seen this, if it had been that one, I would have, low-key doxed.
So this one sounds possibly interesting. So this is about, like, a metalhead who plays one of his records backwards and accidentally summons demons. And then he has to, like, banish the demons.
If y'all could see my face right now. If y'all could see my face. I'm just giving this look like, really?
Yeah.
What year is this from?
I believe it is the late 80s, early 90s. I don't know why I didn't write that down, but it's, the poster is very 80s, so I'm going to guess late 80s.
You know what it reminds me of? You know what it reminds me of is, it feels like, one of those people who was... it was like a young adult during that whole time in the 60s when people thought if you played music really slow at half speed backwards, you could hear them say curse words or something, which I'm like, who the heck cares if you're playing it at half speed backwards?
Yeah, there's that.
It's like that whole, it was like that whole, like, paranoia thing.
There's that, there's the whole, like, oh, it's hypnotizing kids. It was like a whole thing. So the other thing that's funny about Trick or Treat is the tagline was "No false metal" with like an exclamation point. I guess that's like something that character said, but it's like very confusing for a movie. Like, what the hell does that mean? Like,
was that a phrase at the time?
The tagline. So no, it's because the character is like a big metalhead, so he's like.
But it's it's like, wouldn't you have to have already seen the movie to have that be an interesting marketing? Okay,
exactly. These are all things that are like, what are you talking about? Ooh. Okay, so earlier, a while ago, maybe a few weeks, I forget when, but like I was talking about some trashy horror books I've been reading, and I mentioned one of them is Dean Koontz, who's kind of I don't want to call him a ripoff of Stephen King, but he kind of is. And you said, like, Stephen King doesn't write any bad books. And I said, oh, yes, he does. He just writes so many books that, like, a good chunk of them end up being good. He writes so many
books that sometimes he's on narcotics and forgets he wrote them. And
So this is a movie based on a Stephen King story called The Mangler.
The Mangler.
Came out in 1994. It is based on a Stephen King story. I'm going to see if I can guess. So it's called The Mangler. What is the monster?
Somebody who mangles things.
I'll give you a hint. It's not a person.
One of those thingamajigs at like an auto repair shop that crushes things.
It's about a possessed laundry press and icebox. I think I've proven my point that yes, Stephen King can write some bad stories.
Well, I mean, it is marginal, just because it's creepy, not because of the clown, but for other reasons. But
possessed by laundry press.
But that is so specific. It's not a laundry press. It's a laundry press and icebox.
It's very similar. Did you know that Stephen King actually directed a film?
Yes, he directed his own Shining.
Are you talking about the TV remake from like? I didn't know he directed that, but no, before then, his first film he ever directed. Did you know?
Rose Red. I think he also did Rose Red, and
I don't know if he directed any of those.
I think he may have just written those. Never mind. Then.
Yeah. But anyway, so he did direct a film though, and it involved.
Oh my God! Is it bad?
Oh yeah. But it's funny bad. It's actually, I discovered that there were a bunch of like horror compilations for like funny moments, and
Is this the one about the guy who can't stop eating, and then he just starts losing weight?
No, that's Thinner.
Okay.
No. So I'm guessing you haven't heard of this. So the movie is called Maximum Overdrive.
I have heard of this.
Okay, you have.
I don't know what it's about, but I've heard of this.
So it's about an electrical surge that causes all of the appliances in a town to become alive and self-aware and start attacking humans. So like everything. So it'd be like if...
But once they unplug themselves, aren't they basically worthless?
I think that's how they end up solving it in the end.
It took them 2.5 hours to get to the point, we just need to unplug them.
The thing is, like, apparently it affects cars for some reason. Like, it's, again...
Cars have their own power source in them, their batteries, so that makes sense.
Exactly. So there's, like, cars that are attacking people and stuff. But anyway, like, so the scene...
How do they see?
The first time I heard of this movie, I was watching, like, a compilation of, like, funny horror movie moments, and if you've seen Maximum Overdrive, there's a scene where a soda machine is shooting soda out at a Little League team and ends up breaking the coach's neck. And there's a lawnmower out on the field that starts driving towards the kids and stuff, so it's...
Oh, but here's what's interesting. Lawnmowers aren't electrical.
I don't really think that he was thinking too hard about the premise.
Clearly.
But yeah, that's another one that might be a fun watch. It's very, like, that's the thing about Stephen King. He is unapologetic. He loves schlock. He might even be listening to our show. He might have typed Schlocktober in.
We love you, Stephen King.
Oh, I love you, Stephen King. You just because I say some of the stuff you write is terrible does not mean I think you're not a dope person.
Although I do feel like you owe a lot of your career to your first wife. Just saying. If she hadn't pulled your manuscript out of the trash, where would you be now? Probably dead. But that's just me.
I'm sorry you got hit by a car.
Well, no, because he was like on drugs at the time. I think like he was like really into like hardcore like drugs.
No, well, yeah. Actually, yeah, no, I think you're right. I think getting hit by the car actually got him sober. Mm-hmm. You might be right. Well, I'm still sorry you got hit by a car.
We are still sorry they got hit by a car.
I'm also really sorry that they screwed up the adaptation of the Gunslinger series. That would have been cool if they had done that right.
And I'm sorry that Stanley Kubrick made probably the most unscary adaptation of one of your books ever.
Oh, don't you talk trash about that movie.
It's a good movie, but it's not scary.
Yeah, it is.
What part is scary? It's a movie that's visually interesting.
I'll come attack you with an axe and see if you think it's scary then.
Okay, you know what? But to be fair, a lot of people get attacked with axes. That's not... Oh, you're not from the South. Never mind.
Sure,
go on.
Sure. Sure, I'm sure you have been attacked by an axe several times.
Have you not heard of the Axemen of New Orleans?
Were you a victim of the Axemen of New Orleans?
You know, a previous version of me could have been, okay?
All right, so the last film on this list is called Things from 1993. This one sounds boring.
Wait, is it called Things or Things from 1993?
No, Things.
Okay,
and it came out in 1993.
Okay.
And this one actually sounds painfully boring. So basically, like, a wife finds out her husband is cheating on him, so she kidnaps the mistress and her husband and, like, tells them 2 short stories. So it's an anthology movie.
Oh, it's the Canterbury Tales, but for horror films.
Yeah, and the thing is, there's only 2 stories, and they're not very eventful from what I heard, but that's it. And then it's like she decides which one's guilty or something. It sounded weird, and it sounded kind of boring, too. And the fact that they were so lazy with the title, they just called it Things. Things.
Wait. Thought. What is the
Thoughts?
No.
Is that the
That's the sequel.
That's the
I'm
sequel.
pitching that
First
right
it's Things,
now.
and then it's Thoughts.
No, I just had a thought.
Thoughts.
Or thoughts. I had more than one. What is the most like Halloween/horror location name you can think of?
You know, I think partly just because it's been adapted so many times, and it is kind of a Hill House. That whole thing.
No, too many syllables. Next one.
Overlook Hotel.
Too kitschy. Next.
I don't know. What do you want me to say?
Where does... Oh, okay. Have you heard of a place called Transylvania?
Pennsylvania?
No, Transylvania.
I know. Yes, I know about Transylvania.
Wouldn't that be cool if there was just somebody being held hostage by a killer, and so this person's telling stories. Like, it's basically the Arabian Nights, but with horror. So it is called the Transylvanian Nights or something.
Okay, I've got a location that's funny. So, have you heard of the movie Nothing But Trouble?
Have you heard of the book Nothing But the Truth?
So no.
Is that a no from you too?
Yes.
Okay, good. Yeah, we're both not heard of that. No, I'm not heard of that.
So Dan Aykroyd, after directing Ghostbusters and stuff, they gave him full creative control to write and direct a movie, and he came up with this absolutely insane plot and character and like everything. But so the name of the town in his movie is called Vulcanvania.
Okay, there you go. I love that. There you go. Vulcanvanian Nights. If you would like a signed copy of that from myself and Whiskey, don't forget to, like and subscribe and hit that bell.
Please do. What was the worst movie I mentioned?
Or please, just in general, really.
Yeah, what is worse than any of the movies that I listed? Please let me know. And Stephen King, we love you.
I will tell you what it is. It is the upcoming Pixar film Close. It's about the secret life of Close. John Ratzenberger plays a tie.
Is that real, or are you making that up?
No, I heard that in American Dad. But
have you heard of my American Dad joke?
Yeah.
Leonard, everyone's heard of your American Dad joke. No. So thank you for joining us. Please subscribe if you feel the need to, and if you do, hit the bell icon to receive notifications.
Ding.
Give us a like if you actually liked it, or don't.
And don't forget to
We love you all the same.
And don't forget to throw some whiskey in your tea and have a sip.
Stay thirsty, my friends. See you next time.
Bye.
A Sip with Whiskey and Sweet Tea is a production of LaPrince Laboratories. It is edited by Pat Mars and produced by Alejandro Castillo, with original artwork by Asa Sparza. Follow us on Twitter @ReelsOnTheRocks and tweet at us with any movies or topics you'd like us to discuss in the future.